Y'all, this villa is officially in crisis. Now, we know Melanie and Cynthia have been going at it, right? But Love Island said, let's throw in a new bombshell, Corbin. Good luck, Cynthia. Now, Bea versus Melanie. Whose side are you on? Let's get into it.
Kay Unscripted, no teens restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I am your girl Kay, and today we're breaking down Love is Blind USA Season 8 Episode 4. Y'all, trust me, there were so many moments in this episode that had me pausing my TV just to process the audacity. A lot happened. So before we get into this mess, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment below to join the family because we're talking about all the mess in Love Island. You know there's something always happening in Love Island. So we pick up right where we left off with Cynthia and Melanie. Now, after his emotional conversation with Melanie, Cynthia immediately pulled the guys to debrief because that man was stressed. He explained that Melanie basically told him if he wanted to explore other connections, then he should just go explore, which completely caught him off guard because from his perspective, that's not what he was trying to do at all. Now, Cynthia tried to explain that when he spoke to Kada, he wasn't flirting or trying to build a new connection. In his mind, he was just actually talking about how much he liked Melanie and how strong their connection was. And that's why he was so frustrated. He felt like his intentions had been completely misunderstood and that he was being punished for something he wasn't even trying to do. Now, we do see the boys listen to Cynthia as he vented about his situation, admitting that the conversation with Melanie became very intense really fast. He told them he repeatedly reassured her that he wanted to focus on her and that he wasn't interested in pursuing anyone else. But by that point, Melanie had already shut down emotionally. The guys tried to talk him through it, suggesting that the real issue seemed to be probably a miscommunication rather than Melanie not having feelings for him, and they encouraged him to focus on finding a solution instead of being stuck on who is right and who is wrong. And I feel like that was a really good point of advice. Now, looking back, Cynthia acknowledged that he probably could have communicated better from the beginning and understood why Melanie was upset. Even though he felt misunderstood, he admitted that if he wanted the relationship to work, he was going to have to take accountability and to fix the situation and to prove to Melanie that she was still his priority. I feel like at this point, they should just pause on this conversation and wait when they're both calm and relaxed and revisit that conversation. But that's not going to happen at this point either because baby, what's about to come is about to shake the whole villa. Now, Bea has a chat with Anaya and they kiki about Gabriel hooking up with a 52-year-old. Bea tells Anaya that she's really starting to like Gabriel and felt like they have built a strong connection, but she couldn't help feeling a little bit uneasy after seeing Kenzie spend so much time talking to him without giving her a heads up first. Now, she wasn't necessarily upset that they talked, but she was more so feeling some type of way that Kenzie didn't tell her first, and she wished that there was a little bit more transparency. Now, Anaya tried to reassure her to not overthink it, and we do see Anaya saying in her confessional that Kenzie has been talking to multiple people. She suggested to Bea that she just simply express what she's feeling towards to Kenzie, and Bea agreed, joking that Gabriel was lucky to even be coupled up with her anyways. So the guys are also chilling together with Gabriel, and he's telling the guys that he's also feeling Kenzie. And then we see Bea kind of interrupt their conversation, asking to chat with him. So they get to talking, and she points out that they have so much chemistry. She wanted to make sure that there was something deeper than just flirting and attraction. She admitted that they also do have a lot of sexual tension, but wants to know if he likes her personality too. Now, Gabriel didn't hesitate to reassure her. He did tell Bea that he admired how confident she was and loved that she knew exactly what she wanted, and made it clear that he wanted to invest his time in getting to know her a lot better. He was also honest about the fact that Kenzie initially caught his eye and was physically his type, but he did say after spending time with her, he realized their personalities and cultural backgrounds didn't really align. Now, even though Kenzie expressed interest in him, Gabriel, he's saying he felt a much stronger connection with Bea. Now, of course, that is what Bea wants to hear, and that kind of puts her mind at ease because she was worrying about that earlier when she was speaking to Anaya. Melanie later filled in Anaya in her conversation with Sincere, but she was still feeling uncertain about where they stood. So she said that she wasn't necessarily upset that he spoke to Kada, but what bothered her was that she felt he wasn't being fully honest about his intentions. Now, in her mind, if he wanted to explore other connections, she should have respected him just saying that outright. Now, she said she's open to exploring too, and even mentioned that she would be willing to test other connections if things with Sincere didn't work out. Now, by the end of the conversation, Melanie kind of comes to realize that words were not enough for her. She actually wants Sincere to prove that his intentions and his actions are the same. Okay, so the islanders then head to bed, and we get to the next morning. As usual, the guys make breakfast and bring for the girls. Now, Melanie woke up with vengeance, okay, because she decided it was finally time for her to pull Casey. She did tell the girls, she did mention it in the group, that she was going to pull Casey for a chat, okay? So the chat started off light-hearted. Melanie was joking about how she thought Casey's tattoo said surprise, and so they laughed about it and laughed about how her eyesight was really terrible. Melanie shares that she has been feeling frustrated and emotionally drained by everything happening with Sincere. She also explained that while her connection was still good, she appreciated how easy it was to talk to Sincere, but she was struggling to understand where they actually stood. She shares that she hopes to have a big family one day, but Casey, on the other hand, reveals that he's more on the fence, saying that he would just be happy traveling the world with his partner, and if kids ever happen, then it happened because he already comes from a really big family. Meanwhile, Anaya is feeling some type of way and feels like Casey should be honest about wanting to explore with other people. And I don't think that man knew Melanie was going to pull him for a chat, because he looked up like he was taken off guard by that. And besides, that's what y'all are there to do: explore, talk to everyone. No one owns anyone. Y'all are just days in, and y'all are really starting to irritate me with everybody getting in their feelings when this person pulls that person for a chat. Y'all really need to calm down. Now, in the middle of Melanie talking about how sweet she thought Casey was, she gets a text that tells them that there is a challenge. So the challenge had everyone dressing up in office attire. The rules were simple. Each girl had to strut across the boardroom table and pick a guy she wasn't currently coupled up with for a steamy kiss. After that, they answer a series of workplace themed questions by choosing which islander best fit each description, with the chosen person getting launched into a pool of slime. So the first girl to go up was Anaya, and she chose Sean as her office crush. They shared a kiss, and to answer her question, she selected Casey, and child, he was surprised by her choosing him for that question. So then she went to the back office, and to her surprise, there is a new bombshell, Corbin. Now, one by one, they disappeared behind these closed doors, and they each shared a kiss with Corbin before heading back to the guys, pretending absolutely nothing had happened. Okay, so that's how it went down for each girl. So the next girl up was Beatrice. She chose Sincere as her office crush. Her question was, who isn't afraid to step on toes to climb their way to the top? She chose Kenzie and child. Bea said, when you're single and vulnerable, you do whatever you got to do. The shade, the shade, the shade. So she then heads to the boardroom, she meets the bombshell, and then comes back to kiss her current couple, Gabriel. Next up, it's Trinity. She chooses Sean as her office crush. Her question was, who is faking it for that promotion? She chose Bryce, and again, she's in there kissing on the bombshell and goes back to kiss her current couple, Bryce. And he was definitely doing the absolute most. You could tell that Bryce was also butthurt by by him being selected for that question. Up next was Melanie. She chose Casey as her office crush, and she knows she was messy for that. Now, her question was, who needs to be fired? She chose Kada, and like Kada said, girl, you're mad about one chat. Anyways, she gets to meet the bombshell and ended with her kiss with Sincere. It's now Kenzie's turn, and that girl put on a show. So she chooses Gabriel as her office crush, and her question was, who is the office gossip? And she chose Anaya because she said Anaya just knows all the tea. But I said, yikes. She also then went to the back room and met the bombshell, and she came back and she chose Sean to be her last kiss because she's single. Now, finally, Kada chooses her office crush as Sincere, and that was definitely intentional. Kada in playing these games with you, Melanie, and boy, did Melanie looked pissed, okay? Now, her question was, who needs a promotion from the couple? Child, she chose Sincere. Messy, 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 okay? Baby, Kada said, don't come for me and I won't come for you. It's tit for tat over here. Now, when she went to the back room, she too was so shocked to meet the new bombshell. And honestly, watching the guys confidently sit there, having no clue what was actually going on, was honestly hilarious to me. They were just smiling and joking, living their best lives, while each of the girls had a whole kiss with another man behind their back. So messy. So everyone heads back to the villa, the guys and the girls separate, and they're talking about the challenge. So the girls are all excited about the new bombshell. Again, it's a secret the guys don't know. But Melanie's saying that he's her type to the T. And meanwhile, the guys are talking about Kada's bold statement by choosing Sincere. So then we see Melanie bringing up to Kada why she said Sincere needed a promotion. Kada said she purposely chose Sincere for that question after Melanie dunked her into the slime, and she said she had to get her little revenge. Now, Melanie didn't take it too serious. She laughed it off but explained that she only picked Kada because everyone else had already gone. She also does say in her confessional that there's no bad blood, there's no beef between them, but the girls both decided that it was harmless fun and they're good. See, Bea, that's how you bring something up and end it, but we'll get into that a little later. So we now see a chat between Sincere and Sean, and Sincere immediately admits that he was still thinking about his kiss with Kada. He couldn't stop talking about how surprised he was by how good it was, and he was saying, honestly, he didn't want it to end. And I said, oh, okay, Sincere. Now, he said in his confessional, though, that Melanie was still his strongest connection and that he hadn't expected to share that kind of moment with Kada after only having one conversation with her. And the conversation wasn't even anything too much, right? Now the conversation shifted to Kenzie, with Sean sharing his frustrations about how she had been moving. Now he felt like she wasn't giving him much of a chance and questioned whether she was even emotionally ready to build a connection, suggesting that her behavior made things difficult to navigate, especially because of the way she's handling the situation with Zach. Why did I call his man Jack? With Zach, which he feels like isn't emotionally mature In other words, he feels like she's childish, and I have to agree with him on that. So it's now later on in the evening, and everyone's getting dressed for what they expect to be just another night. But yeah, that's not happening at all. Now we do see a chat between why am I botching these names, y'all? Oh my goodness. Trinity and Bryce, okay? So they take a moment to clear the air after what went down in the challenge because, like I said, Bryce was a little bit butthurt, okay? So he does bring it up that he felt hurt that Trinity slimed him and questioned whether the connection was genuine. Trinity quickly explained that it wasn't personal to her at all, and from her perspective, she feels like some of the other couples were moving a lot faster, and she felt like they were still taking their time and they were kind of in a friend zone ish place. Bryce assured her that she was actually his favorite person to talk to in the villa and that he valued the slow, steady pace that they are taking. Now, Trinity, hearing him say that, it kind of shifts her perspective and she realizes that they were actually on the same page about wanting something real. Now, do I believe Bryce? Absolutely not. I feel like he's going to say whatever to stay in the villa. Because let me tell you, if Kada had given Bryce just a little bit of attention, he would have been jumping ship. And he would have not been saying that Trinity is his favorite person in the villa. So at this point, he knows that he might be on the chopping block. So he's going to say what he has to say to stay in the villa. He doesn't come off genuine to me at all. But we're going to have to wait to see how this unfolds. Okay, I'm not feeling Bryce, honestly. Bea later on posed Kenzie for a one-on-one to explain why she picked her during the challenge. And honestly, it wasn't about the conversation with Gabriel at all. It was more so about the lack of communication. Bea said she would have appreciated a quick heads up after Kenzie chatted with him or before, just let me know, right? Especially since she and Gabriel had been building such a strong connection. Now, Kenzie immediately owned up to it. She apologized and admitted she simply hadn't thought about it because she's been so caught up in her own emotions and confusion over where she stood in her love life. Okay, so to me, Bea, you gave Kenzie a lot of grace because she took accountability, she explained herself, she apologized, but she couldn't let it go with Melanie. But we're going to get into that a little bit later, okay? Now, in the middle of Trinity spilling the tea on what Bryce said to her, she gets a text asking the islanders to gather at the fire pit. Now, Casey gets the next text and it's welcoming Corbin into the villa, the newest bombshell. So, the 22-year-old bombshell from Miami introduced himself by proudly announcing that he is 6'4", covered in tattoos, he's goal-oriented and extremely straightforward. He walks in like, "Hey ladies, nice to see you all again." And the boys were like, "Again? What do you mean again?" So then the truth finally came out. The boys learned that every single one of their partners had kissed Corbin in that challenge and their reactions were priceless. Some of them laughed it off, some of them played it cool, but you could tell that there were some who were not happy at all. And spoiler alert, he turned every single head. Now, once the bombshell made his entrance, the villa splits with the girls going to the side to get to know Corbin a little bit better. And the girls couldn't stop talking about Corbin. They were all impressed by his looks, his confidence, his status, and the fact that he came in and he just dominated the entire villa, okay? The boys, on the other hand, were kind of sounding like sinking ships. They were trying to convince themselves that it was just a challenge kiss. But you could tell a little bit of insecurity was starting to creep in, okay? Now, Corbin impresses the girls when he remembers all of their names. He's like, "You're this, you're that." And the girls were like, "Oh my God, we love it, we love it." So he does open up to them, sharing that he was in a 1.5 year long relationship and it ended because he and his partner, they grew apart. And when he started talking about that, Melanie, in the middle of that, decides to pull him for a chat. And I said, "Wait a minute, what is happening?" And baby, from across the room, the look on Cynthia's face said everything. When he saw them walking away, he started clapping. He was definitely in his feelings, okay? Because that man barely recovered from all the drama they've had, and now he's watching Melanie walk away with another man. Now, the girls did not like that at all because they felt like Kenzie should be getting the chance to talk to Corbin first because she is single. And Bea for sure is being vocal about it. And she's like, Melanie was moving sideways a little bit. She's not feeling that, and she's definitely going to check her on that. So, Melanie and Corbin have a little chat, and the conversation was flowing. I mean, Corbin described himself to be laid back and admitted that people would often call him nonchalant, although he hates that label because he feels like it gives the wrong impression of him. He also said that once he gets comfortable, he's playful, and also his energetic side will start to come out, and said that he felt really comfortable talking to Melanie. Now, the two quickly bonded over being straightforward people who value honesty, with Corbin saying he's the type to always tell it like it is, even if it sometimes gets him in trouble. And Melanie does say the same thing too. And I feel like she was kind of saying in that moment that sometimes she's misunderstood because of where she's from and the way she speaks and stuff like that. So as they got to know each other better, Melanie asked him about his background and what he was looking for. He shared that he's the youngest in his family and grew up being very independent, which made him extremely focused and goal oriented. Now, over on the side, Trinity is saying that she doesn't understand why Melanie moved that way, because had it been done with Sincere, which we saw happen, she would be really upset. Now, here's the thing though. Is there any rule that says that she should have allowed Kenzie to go first? No. Morally, is it the right thing to do? Probably. But if she wants to look out for herself, I don't see why not. Then again, I feel like Melanie just wanted to get her lick back after what Sincere did. Now, speaking of Sincere, he's chatting with Sean, and he joked that he had already gone through the whole 7 stages of grief and compared his Love Island experience to a never-ending roller coaster. Now, one minute he said he feels like everything was perfect. The next minute, another bombshell was pulling his girl for a chat. He was trying to stay positive, but you could tell that his confidence was being tested. Little does he know, though, that Melanie was the one who initiated the chat. Now, here's where things get messy. After Melanie has done chatting with Corbin, right? She returned to the girls and she's saying, oh my god, he's hot. And Bea was like, yes, we know. Now you could just tell by her saying that she was ready for Melanie. So she kept on saying, oh, we had googly eyes. But little does she know, Bea was about to be on her neck. Now, Bea immediately tells Melanie that she had been leaning across everyone to make eye contact with Corbin during the conversations, and that came off as a little excessive. Now, according to Bea, it wasn't just this one incident either. She noticed similar behavior before and thought it was worth bringing up. Now, Melanie looked genuinely caught off guard. She did insist that none of it was intentional, and she explained that maintaining eye contact is just part of how she communicates with people. She did apologize for the way it came across, but she felt like, it was being blown out of proportion. Now, Bea is still telling her that she should just take accountability and she should not get defensive, while Melanie felt like she was already doing exactly that. And I'm going to have to side with Melanie on this one. This may be an unpopular opinion. I don't know, but she apologized. She said she didn't mean it that way. She explained herself. But I feel like Bea was pushing really hard to be like, this is what I said. That's what it is. And you just have to take it at that, right? And I don't feel like that's fair. She said she didn't mean for it to come off that way. There was no reason to keep telling her repeatedly her behavior is excessive. Like Melanie said, what other time have you seen me behave like that? And she couldn't give her an explanation as to that other time that she was speaking about. Now, at this point, Melanie was pissed off. She walked away and she wasn't trying to talk about her chat with Corbin. She said she needed a minute to get herself together. And like she said, probably 10. But we do also see Bea saying, "Oh, what did I say? I didn't know she was so sensitive." Bea, baby, chill for real. Because you were going hard at Melanie. And it lets me believe that you probably don't like her. Now, I guess it that you guys are probably frustrated because of the way Melanie behaved with the whole sincere situation, but you did come off strong. Like if I'm cool with being corrected, but quit shoving it in my face after I have apologized and explained my action. That is annoying, and I feel like this is what Bea was doing. Okay, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but that's how I see it. Is Melanie right for walking out and walking all over the villa and saying, "I need a minute"? No, but oh, she's obviously upset, right? Now, y'all, that's a wrap on episode 4. And honestly, the villa is starting to feel like one giant trust exercise that nobody signed up for. Now, I need to hear from y'all in the comments. Was Melanie overthinking the sincere situation? Do you think she blew that situation with Bea out of proportion too? Or do you all think Bea was coming off a little bit too strong? Please let me know what you think. Now, if you enjoyed this recap, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.